Hi guys, this is We Are Tottenham TV. I'm here with Amir and we have just watched Tottenham surrender to a 4-2 defeat to Brighton and Hove Albion at the Amex Stadium. 4-0 down after about 65 minutes, and Spurs, maybe 70 minutes, Spurs looked absolutely dead and buried. We were at least 10% off it the whole game, and then bizarrely, as Brighton sat back in the last 10 or 15 minutes, Spurs suddenly got a second wind and made chance after chance, scored 2 goals, and could easily have scored 4 and made it one of the stories in the history of the Premier League. That gives us a bit of momentum going into the next game, but that is not what I think we're going to be concentrating on. I definitely don't think that's what this Spurs Twitter fan base or YouTube fan base is going to be thinking about today. Amir, is it a matter of Ange got some key decisions wrong today, or is it more about the fact that the players just were not at 100%?
I think it's a bit of both for me there, Barnaby, and I tell you why. I think Ange at half-time needed to make a change. That's my thought. You know, watching the game, I thought Lo Celso needed to come on, give us a bit more invention there in the middle, and they were controlling the whole of the first half. They were controlling the midfield. Sarr was looking a bit leggy. Overall, a really, really frustrating match because we basically shot ourselves in the foot twice by giving away very, very silly penalties. And it goes back to the mistakes that, in other matches we've made as well, with the Basuma sending off, with Udogie sending. And these kind of things, if you really want to go for something, you can't be making those mistakes, because in the Premier League you'll get punished for it, and we've been punished today. On another day, I really do think we could have got something out of this game. We had, as well as the 2 goals that we scored, we had 2 offside goals where if Richie was a yard
hit
behind,
the post at least twice.
Hit the post twice. Yeah, they hit the post. They had amazing chances as well in the first half. But if we don't make those silly, silly mistakes to just literally shoot ourselves in the foot and give them the second goal and give them the third goal, it's really, really frustrating for me to see that. And I think, although Ange in his press conference said he's not too worried about the red cards, I'm starting to worry about the silly giving away of penalties, red cards, silly mistakes that they were making to give our opponents a big, big advantage.
So just going back all the way to the first half, I felt like we had a decent first 3 or 4 minutes, but then after that we really let Brighton control the game. Completely. And Ange is all about Tottenham taking games by the scruff of the neck, making people talk about how we want to dominate games. And to be honest, when I look at that game, I thought we were more in charge of the game away at the Etihad against Man City than we were in this game. Obviously, Brighton are a good team. De Zerbi has them playing well on the basis of, on the back of Graham Potter's good kind of structural stuff that he played when he was manager there. But we shouldn't be allowing a team that have kind of 8 to 10 injuries like Brighton, even though we've got our own injuries, to boss us around like that. And you said it, I remember, during the watch-along, you were like, you make your own luck. And that first goal that was scored by the fullback, Hinchelwood, came from the fact that they drove at us into our 18-yard box. There was a bit of ping-pong, and it flew across to the right-back, who had all the time in the world to put his laces through it. And as we know, in the Premier League, scoring the first goal statistically is absolutely huge. And we never recovered from that. No,
we didn't recover from it. And what is so frustrating is that on another day, we could have recovered from something like that. The fact is, we made silly mistakes that cost us so dearly. Apart from the
penalties.
Yeah, the penalties. It's just, I know when you saw the Kulu one, you're thinking, is it, isn't it? I just think if you don't touch him there, you don't give him the opportunity. Okay, Welbeck may have been in and he may have knocked that one in.
Yeah.
But I'd rather take that than this silly penalty. And, you see the consequences of it. What Lo Celso was trying to do there in the last few minutes, going from behind, I have no idea.
I think this is actually a really good, sorry to interrupt, but I think it's a really good example of how even at 2-0, you have to just stay in the game. Don't give away a silly penalty for a third.
You have to.
Don't, or was it the third or the fourth, the penalty? I think it was the third.
Third, yeah.
Don't give that away. Don't let them, because as we saw in that last 10, 15 minutes, when the pressure comes on, especially a team with so many changes in, they absolutely collapse onto their own 18-yard box, sometimes their own 6-yard box. We had chance after chance, and it could easily have been an absolutely unbelievable Premier League story.
Yeah, and if that you go into a deficit of only 1 goal there in the last 10, 15 minutes, and you see 9 minutes of stoppage time, plus an extra bit of, you're thinking, okay, I'm still in this, and unfortunately, from shooting ourselves in the foot, we weren't in it. We weren't in it. And that's the real worry for me, is that even though, okay, you can say the teams with the injuries, let's say balance, we're roughly even there.
Yeah.
The fact that we haven't gone and actually given ourselves an opportunity of getting some points today, for me, is the real killer. But we're going to have to look onwards and upwards, because we've got Bournemouth coming up in a few days. And I think, even though we've lost today, those 2 goals and that fight that we did show in the last 20 minutes will stand us in good stead for Bournemouth. It is about putting this one behind us and going into the next match and looking to get the 3 points. I want to see a lot more fight on New Year's Eve, that's for sure.
Although he wasn't directly responsible for any of the goals we conceded, I want to talk a little bit about our captain, Heung-min Son, because I feel very strongly that in the last 2 games, he's been slightly off it, and it's really shown with Son. He's such an instinctive player, and when he's slightly off it, it really shows to me in how he deals with with his control, with his 5-yard passing, and with his kind of running at opposition defences where he gets the ball stuck under his feet. And that really happened today, as it happened in the Everton game as well. I mentioned it in the watch along. I'm intrigued to know what you think. Is there a chance that he's got the Asian Cup coming up? He's had obviously an injury in the last year. He doesn't want to get injured with that coming up. Is that a possibility, or am I clutching at straws?
I don't like to be negative. And I try to always think that players don't do that. But there is something going on here, because it's not the normal Sonny that we're used to. It's not that playing the ball quickly, getting it out of his feet. He almost seems reluctant to get it out of his feet and into other players. And he's definitely been a little bit off the boil. Even though he did get the goal against Everton, it wasn't one of his top, Sonny performances. Yeah. So is he looking at the Asian Cup and thinking, I don't want to get injured? I really would like to think not, but there is a possibility. Back of his mind, subconsciously. Yeah, should mention, despite the fact that he conceded 4 goals, I think Vicario actually had a great game. He made some hugely vital saves. Without him, 8 or 9.
It could have been 7 or 8 or 9, without Vicario. He made some great saves, and I want to mention Vicario specifically because at the end of the Everton game, it's almost with Vicario now expected of him from me, because I forgot to mention him, and he was key to us getting those 3 points. So I want to talk about, I wanted to mention him. Should mention Valise got his first goal for the club.
He did indeed.
He looks very good in the air. He definitely offers us something different, similar to how Fernando Llorente did back in the day under Pochettino. We now have that plan B, and we need, if anything, to get more crosses into the box for him when we're struggling in those last few minutes, because he showed that instinctively, although his touch for the goal wasn't great, it was a good finish on his right foot. There wasn't much space for him there. Yeah,
I actually think it's a lot better finish than we give him credit for, because there wasn't that much of the goal to shoot for, with the players closing down and the keeper. So he actually tucked it away really, really professionally.
Yep.
And I do think he offers something different. And that's one of the things I'm happy, out of positives that we can take out of this game. The fact that he's got on the score sheet, that will give him a lot of confidence going forward. With all the people that we're going to have missing over the next few months as well, I'm sure he'll get more game time. Donnelly there coming on for the last few minutes as well.
Did he even get on the pitch in the end?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. So, there are some positives to take from that. There are. Although, the shooting yourselves in the foot thing is something that it drives me personally absolutely crazy, because it's just things you don't need to do. You just don't need to do it. I think we need to talk about the kind of scary triumvirate definitely in terms of the Tottenham fan base of Ben Davies, Emerson Royal and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I would personally say, and you're very willing to get in the comments and slag me off as much as you want, but I think they did all right tonight. I don't think that defeat was anything to do with them in terms of mistakes they made. What I would say is, of course, does the fact that they're on the pitch rather than Romero, Van der Ven and Bissouma mean that we're 10 to 15% down? Yes, it does. That's the reality in terms of their ability to play Ange ball, of course. But did they give 100%? Did they try their best? And did they make any mistakes? No, not for me. They played some bad passes here and there. It's going to happen, especially when you're asked to be brave and it's against your skill set. I don't know what you thought, but I think you can't blame them. I don't think that. I'd more look at the whole team performance and some of his decision making as well today with the subs. That for me was.
You wanted Gio Lo Celso on earlier,
I wanted him on at half time. I think things weren't working for us there at half time, and I just think I don't want to be negative against Ange, because I love the guy and I think he's going to do a fantastic job for us. But I do think that you need to sometimes, in a game, make that impact sub at half-time. By the time he'd got Lo Celso on, it was already, 3-0? Yeah. So the game was almost done and dusted by then. So for me, you need to make a change when you can actually make the impact. Looking at Højbjerg, Royale, Davies, these are squad players that have come in. I think they've done all right. Emerson as well, you're asking him to play in a position that's not even his position in centre-back. He's done okay. The fact that we do lose that 10-15% that you were talking about, not having Royale in there, Romero in there and Mickey van der Ven and Bissouma, I think that's the 15-10% that doesn't cost you those 2 goals.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I fully agree.
So we have to try and be positive. We have to try and think that when we do get these players back, Ange will look a lot better, because I think we were struggling. We were struggling getting the balls, the transition from defence to midfield to the final third wasn't there today. No. Wasn't clinical today. So I'm hoping that once these players are back, we'll see a different
bit of devil's advocate before we go. Brighton, good team, well coached, know exactly what they're doing. Every player knows their responsibility on the pitch. They will turn over better teams than us. Maybe not better teams than us, but teams of our level at the Amex this season. And we didn't play them after a European game. So that's just a little bit. I want to mention Deki Kulusevski, I think, is now out for the Bournemouth game. I believe,
with the yellow.
Tell me if I'm wrong, I believe that was his 5th yellow. So we're going to have to fill in for him. I thought Richarlison, obviously, his still confidence is up because he scored
Scored twice.
A couple of offside goals. He just needs to chill out on his runs a little bit. And finally, before we leave, Destiny Udogie, an absolute beast of a player, going for 100 minutes, up and down, up and down, up and down. I would go so far as to say he's the key player in Tottenham Hotspur's Ange ball, and we need to keep him fit because we are so much a worse team without him, and even with him today, we didn't play great. Just a final thought on Udogie's performance from you.
Honestly, I think the guy is an absolute star in the making. That run he made there towards the end just epitomises his whole performance. He ran through the play. The guy literally tried to, clothesline him down.
He did.
And he just carried on. He just absolutely stunning, like a tank, really, just rolling in through the whole pitch. I think he's going to be key for us. I said to you before the match, I think our wing-backs, they will be key to us winning this match today. Unfortunately, they couldn't impact the game in the way we wanted to. Going forward, Udogie, I think, under Ange Ball, him and Porro are going to be absolutely critical to us getting more goals, more on the score sheet, and his defending as well. It's Rolls Royce. He's like a tank. He's huge.
He is
absolutely huge.
Okay, guys, next game, Bournemouth at home, I think becomes a must-win now going into January, when we're going to obviously lose Pat Matasar, Heung-min Son, and Bissouma, who's obviously already suspended. Anyway, must win 3 games time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. If you're going to that game, motivation, noise, atmosphere is absolutely huge. We get a win there, we can wipe out this 4-2 defeat. It was a difficult day, a difficult match to take, but positives. We really pushed it at the end there, and I think that's what Ange will be talking about in his post-match discussions with the players, maybe even in the press too. And we just need to look at the positives. We're still in this kind of top 4, top 5 race. There are some strange results going on. I know that West Ham Arsenal game hasn't finished yet, but something interesting could happen there. And we've just got to get another 3 points and hope that the 2 Premier League games away at Old Trafford and the home one in January, we can get some results at too. I'm choosing to be glass half full. I know it's a difficult evening. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my channel. It's called the Spurred On Podcast. In the title is my handle at Barnaby Slater _. Drop me a little subscribe there. And also, subscribe, We Are Tottenham TV. Press the bell button for all your daily content with the boys. Thanks again for watching. We'll be back with a fan show in about 15 minutes time, where you can call and speak to us about today's disaster. And most importantly, keep the faith. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.